Eszterházy Podcast.
Hi, this is the Eszterházy Podcast, the voice of youth, a podcast about international student life. My name is Kristina Nagy and my guests are
Ekaterina Vystoropets,
first-year stipendium student of International Relations at the Eszterházy Catholic University, and
Lindsey Cuen
from the University International Student and Scholar Service Office. Today we will talk about the Christmas and the celebrations with them. But firstly, Ekaterina, please tell us a bit about yourself. Where did you come from?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, thank you so much for having me. And I'm from Russia. So I come from not a very big city in Siberia. So it's already the Siberian part of Russia called Tyumen. I've been studying there, and this year I got this scholarship, and I'm very thankful to be here in EKKE and study at Eszterházy University.
When you think of home, what traditions and costumes come to mind?
That's a very good question. I feel like family comes to my mind first, I would say. Speaking of traditions, I guess it's just getting together with my family and playing some games. We love playing games with my family, so we would get together and have some nice dinner and then play games. So yeah, all of my family are so competitive. We all want to win the presents, the prize. It's so much fun all the time.
Is there any special Russian tradition?
Yeah, definitely. So I guess Russia is kind of unique in this regard because we don't really celebrate Christmas as much as New Year. And it has to do with the history. So in the USSR, they tried to discriminate church, and there was this propaganda of New Year being a bigger holiday. So that's why we mostly celebrate New Year nowadays, but we also celebrate Christmas just later in January. It has to do with the calendar, with the different calendars, because as maybe you know that we've been using a Gregorian calendar, and then the whole world switched to Julian calendar, but Orthodox Church decided to stick to the Gregorian calendar, and that's why our Christmas is 2 weeks later.
Is it January 6th or 7th?
7th, exactly.
And what do you do on that day? How do you celebrate that day? Do you have special foods?
A good question. So I guess most of all people just go to churches. So people who are religious and who believe in God, they go to churches. So I'm a Protestant, so I go to a Protestant church. And of course the Orthodox Church also has a big celebration, and their so-called Orthodox Pope, I would say. Unfortunately, I don't know what to call it in English, to call him in English, but we call him Batyushka. He also, gives a speech. So they show it on Russian TV now. But it used to be different. So, and about the food, of course, it's also a lot of nice dishes and courses, like meat courses. So speaking of New Year, we would also make a lot of salads and caviar, so something like that.
And what's the situation in America?
I think my family is a little bit different in that we are quite rich in tradition. Some of the best memories I have are from my childhood and my family. I think my mom really made it an effort to make it special. And we had 6 kids, so it was a lot of kids. And at this time, we were fairly doing well financially. And I remember my mom and my stepfather, we had a beautiful home, and they always really decorated it really nice, so very beautiful. And then with the 6 kids, there was always a lot of presents. And we had a lot of tradition. In America, typically, Christmas is celebrated on the morning of December 25th. And one thing I really like about Hungary is that you differentiate between Santa and the birth of Jesus. We don't really do that in America, unfortunately. So what we would do is we would, on the night before, on Christmas Eve, our family had a lot of traditions that many people don't do, but we would always watch one movie. It was always the White Christmas. If you guys have ever seen White Christmas, it's really good music and dancing and costumes. It's from the 50s, so it's old, but it's really Bing Crosby, excellent music. And then we would drive around and we would look at the Christmas lights, and we had this box that my mom had wrapped. It was a shoebox, but she wrapped it like a present. And inside were long tapered candles and little pieces of paper with Bible verses about the birth of Jesus. And so, imagine 6 kids with candles. So we would each get a candle, and we would sit in a circle, and we would light the first person's, and then we would read our verse. And then on the other side was a sort of application to our lives. And then we would go around the circle and light each other's candles and read our verses. And then after that, we would get to open one present, always. And the one present was almost always pajamas, because my mom wanted us to look good the next morning for pictures and stuff. So, and then we would read, there's a famous poem, it's called "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." And we would read a Christian version of that. It's called "'Twas the Night Before Jesus Came." And it's actually really, really good. I recommend it. You should read it. And then that was it for the night. And we would kind of chill, watch movies, and eat snacks. And then the next morning, we had a rule. We weren't allowed to wake up before 6 a.m. So once it became, we were little kids waiting for 6 a.m. And then we would wake everybody up at 6 a.m. And we would go downstairs. And of course, 6 kids, so many presents. Like the tree was covered. Because in America, you don't put out the presents until overnight. Like parents put them out so that the next morning you wake up. And so there was tons of presents. We would take turns opening them. And then after that, we would get stockings. So like the Christmas stockings, they each had our names on them. And they had jewelry, candy, pencils, pens, practical things, big things and small things, all small enough to fit in the stocking. And then after we opened our presents, the extended family would come over, like the aunts and uncles and grandparents, and we would do a gift exchange with them. But it was usually like everybody chose one person. We pulled names, and then we would have a big brunch, so like a breakfast, lunch combined meal. And we often ate cinnamon rolls, sort of like in Hungary, fahéjas, but in America it's a kelt tészta. It's the dough that is puffy and bigger, and then we would have mimosas. Not the kids, of course, but mimosas are champagne and orange juice. So we would drink that and eat that, and then after we did the gift exchange, we would go to the movies, and we would go see a movie.
And Lindsey, you have been living in Hungary for almost 10 years. How are the holidays different here?
Actually, it's almost 11 years now. In January, it'll be 11 years. And it's quite different. One thing that I like, and my boyfriend is actually American, and he was saying the same thing. He really likes how modest gift giving is here. In America, I think we've become too materialistic, and we tend to give expensive things, bigger things. Here, it's much more modest and much more practical. I remember being quite surprised when I first got like body wash and lotion, and I remember thinking like, do I smell? Why are they giving me this? Because in America, normally only like your parents would give you that, or close family. And so I remember thinking, maybe I should ask people if I'm stinky. So I was kind of surprised by that. But I think it's much more practical here and much more simple, the gift giving. I like that it's not as gift focused here. And I think I really like that it's centered on Christ at Christmas time. So it is about the birth of Christ. And even if people aren't religious, that's still what they celebrate at Christmas time. So I really appreciate that.
And for scholarship students, moving to a new country away from home is not always easy, especially during the holidays. How do you overcome loneliness?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's true that it's going to be my first Christmas and New Year away from my family. So I don't know how I'm going to feel on that day. Maybe I'll cry all day long. No, I don't think so. But yeah, it is quite challenging. But actually, I was very blessed to be invited to join a German family for this Christmas. So I'm very, very excited about that. I've never been, to a European Christmas at all. Like I've never, this year it was the first time for me to see a Christmas market. Oh my God, I was so excited. So that's why I think all of this helps a lot to overcome loneliness, just, experiencing these new things like drinking mulled wine or trying some Christmas market pastry. So for me, it helps a lot, of course. And also all the people that I meet here, they are all very kind. And I really appreciate that you can make such connections in such a short time. That's amazing. So yeah, that's all helps, I guess, and the excitement, and of course we call, almost daily. So that also helps.
I think it's really important this time of year to remember people who are single or who are alone or who are outside of their country, because I think a lot of people struggle this time of year. And so I always try to remember that, because a lot of people have remembered me or have helped me in this time. Since now I have a big community around me, but when I first came, I didn't. And my church friends really took me into their homes and made me feel like part of the family, and it meant so much. And so I think that's really something that we should all try to be more aware of, and just remember that there are people who don't have anybody, and pray for them and invite them if you can, and just help them to know that they're special.
100%. Yeah, I think we should be all more attentive and just, look around, and maybe indeed we can help someone to make it special this year. So true.
We had actually a Mikuláš party for the international students. So we try to also make it special for them. It's a little bit harder during Christmas and New Year's because nobody's really working. But hopefully we can get something organized so that they can celebrate together too.
Yeah, because I heard that many students are staying here for Christmas. So yeah, I think that would be very nice to have a small party at the dormitory or something.
It's a good idea. And how are you preparing for the celebration this year?
So as I said, this year it's going to be very different for me. So I'm actually planning to go to Germany, to Bavaria for Christmas. I'll join a German family, and I guess we'll have a dinner. Yeah, I think I'll also read more about the way they celebrate Christmas, just to be more prepared. Yeah, and also gonna go to Budapest on Friday to get some presents. Yeah, for them. And about New Year, I guess we'll get together with the friends and something like that.
As I mentioned before, I've always been blessed to be invited by other people, and I always celebrate with some people from church. So on the 24th, I go to my pastor's house with his family, and it's so interesting that here in Hungary, on the 24th, you decorate the Christmas tree. In America, we do that in early December. But I really like that because it means I can decorate it with them, and I enjoy that. And so I'll be going to their place. I'm going to make salmon. So I'm going to bring some salmon and probably a salad, and hopefully a dessert, maybe a tiramisu, because everybody loves that. Maybe a pistachio tiramisu. Oh. We'll see. I love tiramisu. And then on the 25th, it'll just be me and my boyfriend. So it's kind of cool because that's really the day in America that's a big day. And we discussed that we're going to stay in pajamas and watch Christmas movies and maybe have cinnamon rolls and maybe mimosas. And just chill and enjoy the day and be together. And then on the 26th, we'll visit some other friends from church. So.
But wait, do people only decorate Christmas tree on the 24th in Hungary?
Yeah, usually also me with my family, we used to decorate it together because this is the day when all of us are together. We finish the work, everybody come to home, and it's our family time.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a difference in culture, but they also I really like this focus that they say to the children that Jézuska, little baby Jesus, brings the tree, or the angel.
And the angels.
Yeah.
Wow, it's amazing.
So they'll decorate it totally, and then they ring a bell and surprise the kid, like, Jesus did it.
My childhood.
Yeah, it's very cute.
Oh, that's magical. Wow.
Yeah.
That's so
cool.
Thank
you that we are getting into the Christmas mood together. I wish you and all our listeners a very Merry Christmas and a blessed New Year. And thank you for being with us all semester. Take care of yourself.
Merry Christmas.
Eszterházy Podcast.